All right, we're recording and welcome to our third live mastery go-to training. Certainly appreciate you being here this evening. And I'm here in Orlando, Florida. It was a little gloomy in the beginning, but turned out to be a pretty gorgeous day. How was your weekend? Hope you enjoyed it. And of course, feel free to use the chat box. I do have you on mic right now. Okay, Robert says windy in Atlanta. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed your weekend, and as stated, certainly appreciate you being here this evening. Before I move any further, I just want to make sure that you're hearing me clearly, and also that you're seeing the slide that says "Welcome to Mastery." If somebody can give me a thumbs up on that, I appreciate it. So Liz says, "Clean up, lots of snow." Oh yeah, New Hampshire getting ready for another big storm tomorrow. Yeah, I heard about that. You guys are really getting slammed. Christina, California. Okay, okay. Thank you so much. All right, good. Wonderful. All right. So once again, my name is Lester Frederick, and this is our third live go-to training. Now, our main Q&A time will be at the end of the session because, through our experience over the years, I found out that generally I will answer probably 95% of your questions as I go through the instructions for this week. Okay, so at the end, and that's when I will turn on the microphones as well too. All right. So, just a little bit about myself before we move any further. I've been teaching at Full Sail going on about 8 years now, and I started teaching leadership and game design online degree program. Did that for roughly about 6 years, and then taught different classes, and now I'm teaching project and team management, and not only online but also on campus as well. And I enjoy things such as learn about different cultures, teaching, nature, instructional technologies, especially educational video games. When it comes to qualifications to teach this course, I have an MBA with a leadership concentration and also an EDD with an instructional technology concentration. I've worked in different fields and positions such as education center director, construction project manager, and also having my own LLC. At one point, I wanted to be an audio engineer and producer, but that was short lived. But regardless of the positions that I've held, they've prepared me to fulfill my life's task, which is to teach and to train. And the wonderful thing about leadership, which mastery is about, is that these are transferable skills that you can use anywhere. They're timeless, they're universal, and they're um, transferable. Okay, okay, thank you, Christina. Okay, so I just want to make sure that others are able to see the screen. So Christina says she can't see it. How about others? Are you able to see the screen? I just changed it just now. Just want to make sure before we move on. Every now and again, we have technical glitches. Okay, Maria. Well, I should say Marla. Sorry. By the way, if I butcher your name, please forgive me. Okay. If I mispronounce your name, and then later on you could tell me how to pronounce it correctly. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Caitlin. And okay, fantastic. So, our agenda is mainly covering social intelligence in chapter 4. I hope you're enjoying the mastery book so far. In addition, I'll cover the topic of your calling. And give me one moment here. Okay. So, social intelligence is the ability to see people in the most realistic light possible. Basically, it's the ability to read people, to read between the lines, read people's body language. Mastering skills isn't enough. We have to associate with other people in life and at work. Therefore, it's imperative for us to improve our social intelligence skills. Some of you might have introverted traits like myself. Regardless, our social intelligence skills can improve if people know you, like or respect you, and trust you. Then they might be willing to work with you or hire you. But first, they have to get to know you. On page 171, Green discusses what he called the seven deadly realities or qualities that are common in human behavior. Green believes that we can boost our social intelligence if we reduce or eliminate these seven deadly realities. Well, what are they? Number one is envy. Some people think if only they could be as smart or wealthy or popular or good looking as this person or that person, then they'll be successful. Listen, don't get caught up in the comparison trap because you're unique and have been designed the way you are for a purpose. Secondly is conformism. Listen, if you don't be you, then who will be? Of course, we should conform to the laws of the land, but we don't have to be robots and copycats. We're creatives, right? And I would assume that's one of the reasons that you're attending Full Sail. The third one is rigidity. Those are the words of people who lack vision and are set in their ways. Now, I do believe that there are certain things we have to do by the books. For example, I don't want a brain surgeon doing exploratory surgery on my brain. I do want the doctor to go by the book. But in creative spaces, we need to be more open to fresh and divergent ideas and approaches. Dichotomy mindset. Maybe you've heard that term before. I truly believe that the majority of us have a dichotomy mindset, as in it has to be this way or it has to be that way. But why don't we take a balanced approach? A more eclectic approach, as in trying to get the best of all worlds. I don't know about you, but here's my personal philosophy, and that is, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. But if it can be improved, modify it. And if it doesn't exist, then build it. Number four is self obsessiveness. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but it's about thinking about yourself less. I'll say it again. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but it's about thinking about yourself less. Humility and humor come from the same root word. So a good humility test is to observe if you are able to laugh at yourself sometimes. The next one, according to Green, is laziness. That's number five. We live in a time of instant gratification, right? Point, click, and voila, there it is. But the media and entertainment industry is highly competitive, and many people are and will be jockeying for the same position that you're pursuing. Therefore, we have to go above and beyond our call of duty to have a competitive advantage. Next on the list, number six is flightiness. I don't know about you, but I measure people by how their actions line up with their words. It seems to be so common that people just say anything uh, at any time, and there's really no action to back up what they say. Just blowing hot air in your face. Yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll call you, I'll get this done, and it doesn't get done. It's so important for us to try and not to promise more than we can deliver and to go above and beyond. And class, I'm telling you, if you want a competitive advantage, just do that. Because guess what? People will notice and the word will get around that you're dependable and you get things done. Next is passive aggression. Some people rather hit you with subtle jabs instead of being straight with you. That can be demonstrated by being late, avoiding you, procrastinating, or sabotaging a project behind the scenes while smiling with you. In order to develop our social intelligence, we have to be aware of these behaviors in order to flow with different conversations and personalities. Now, as we shift, Green stated that our calling is practically synonymous to our life's task. I trust that you've discovered that already or is getting clearer to you, especially as you're taking this course. Some people have jobs, others have careers, and others are working in their calling. So this section I call the journey steps towards our calling. A job is what you do temporarily as you jump from one place of employment to another. When you ask someone if they like what they do and there's a hesitation and a response such as, well, it pays the bills, that generally means that they have a job. That's a job, also known as just over broke. Many employees work just enough so they don't get fired and get paid just enough so that they won't quit. Now, the next step up from a job is a career. And it has the connotation of running a course at full speed. But the race isn't for the swift or the strong, but for those who can endure. The next step up from a career is a calling. According to Green, the word vocation comes from the Latin meaning to call or to be called. The original word vocare meant a calling from God to do spiritual work. But over the years, that meaning has expanded, and some view it as a calling into a variety of occupations. Green considers our vocation and life's task to be closely related to mastery. And mastery isn't a 100-yard dash or one hit wonder, it's a marathon. In order to respond to our calling, we have to take a few steps on our journey. I believe there are 5 foundational steps, and all of them are necessary. The first step is passion. Listen, you got to have a heart for what you do. And I trust that you do, and that's why you are enrolled at Full Sail. By the way, these are just my personal views that I have come to believe over the years of reading, talking to people, and personal experiences. Regardless, I think there are some similarities between what I'm sharing with you and Green's views. Moving forward, I'll be asking some questions, okay? And I would like you to participate by typing your brief answers in the chat box, okay? So I'd like your participation. So here's the first question. If you had to choose just one thing, one occupation to do for the rest of your life without getting paid for it, what would you do? Go. Please share. Okay, Maria says teach. Brandon, music supervisor, entertainment manager. Robert, a teacher or artist developer. Good. What else we got? And don't be shy. Feel free. Okay, Christina, lead an animator. All right, fantastic. Anyone else want to share? By the way, I think we had like about 25 people registered tonight. Right now we have 11, and that happens at times. All right, and maybe others you're still thinking about it. But listen, I believe the answer to that question is your passion. Okay? So Liz says working in a greenhouse with plants and teach how to grow organic produce and plants. Okay, terrific. So think about a starving artist, right? Um, a starving artist generally has a lot of passion for what they do, and mainly that's art. They're passionate about it. But there's a reason why they call him a starving artist, right? And the reason is that yes, they have the passion, that's the one P, but they don't have the other P, which is the profit. And throughout life, I see this, this big chasm between those who have a passion for what they do on one end, but they don't have the profit. And then on the other end, you have those who have the profit, but they're really not doing what they're passionate about. And boy, I tell you, if we can just bridge those two together, I think it would be a wonderful equation for success. The next one is purpose. Okay, purpose. And purpose is why you do what you do. Think about that. It's why you do what you do. Um, the purpose of a pen is to write with. The purpose of a car is to drive it. But what's the purpose for people? I believe every one of us has a purpose, and it's imperative that we discover it. So, once again, purpose answers the questions why do you do what you do, and why are you here? Many times people don't have clear answers to these questions. Now, sometimes, our passion or our purpose overlaps. But here's the next question. Why would you want to share your passion with others? I'll give you an example. The starving artist has a passion for art, right? And maybe their purpose is they just want to share their art with the world and to make a difference in the world. So here's the next question for you, and I would like you to participate. Just brief answers. Why would you want to share your passion with others? Go. Please share. We're talking about purpose. Robert, to inspire others to be great. Maria, I want to see others succeed. Fantastic. All right. Anybody else? And I know, of course, some of these questions will really take you time to ponder. Natasha, to help motivate them reach their goals. Great. Brandon, I love exposing music. Both music supervising and entertainment manager are directly related to that. Good. Christina, to share stories and hope and inspire. Great. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. So the third step is problem. Problem? Yeah, problem. What problems are you going to solve with your passion and purpose? So notice every word I'm giving you starts with the letter P, okay? And hopefully that'll be easy for you to remember. All right? Um, passion and purpose are very personal and could be very self centered. So we want to make sure that we're helping others in the process. One way to help others is by helping them solve their problems. Also, employers are always looking for problem solvers, and that's a timeless, universal skill that's transferable to any industry. So, the question for you is what problem can you solve through your passion and purpose? So I'll give you an example. Going back to the starving artist, passion for art, right? The purpose is to share art with others to make a difference. But what problems can a starving artist solve? Well, more and more, we hear about art is being eliminated from schools, especially in public schools. Well, maybe the starving artist will say, you know what? At least once a week, maybe an hour or two, I'll go in one of these schools, maybe in the inner city or maybe in a rural area where they've taken art out. And you know what? I'll volunteer 1 to 2 hours a week, and in a way, they are solving a problem with their passion and with their purpose. So, once again, the question for you what problem can you solve with your passion and your purpose? So, hopefully, I pronounce this correctly Omololu, to help businesses make better decisions. Fantastic. And others would like to for you to share what problem can you solve with your passion and your purpose. And I know this one will take a little thought, right? But we want to solve a problem too. So, Marla, by helping people learn how to function properly in a team environment, great. Anyone else? Using your passion and your purpose to solve a problem. Brandon, the avenue or vehicle to help new artists emerge, good. Robert, help others know their business and own their business, okay, good. All right. Okay, appreciate the engagement. And others, think about this, okay? And this can be helpful to you. Okay, let's see. Liz offering local produce that is grown organically and sustainable, offering it grown locally and giving more options of affordable produce in the area. Fantastic. Listen, I love technology, right? And Full Sail is about media and entertainment. But no matter how technologically advanced that we get, we still have to eat food, right? We can't eat wires and nuts and bolts and apps, right? So good. All right. So moving along, the fourth step is a plan. Listen, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Too many times we just dream, but we don't map out our dreams into solid plans that can be converted into concrete realities. Now that's great that you have your bachelor's, now you're working on your master's, you have some experience, knowledge, skills. All that combined is part of the plan to walk into and remain in your life's task. The fifth and final step is profit. So notice this last, right? Do you remember the starving artist I was talking about in the beginning? If he or she was making enough profit to be content and to balance out the passion, purpose, the problems they've been fixing, and the plan that they've executed? Okay, I think that would be more of a fulfilling life. A couple of years ago, a few of the band members for Boys to Men, they were at Full Sail, and they were giving them some Q&A time, and the students were really peppering them with questions, and specifically about the money. Where's the money? Where are we going to get this money? And one of the speakers wisely said, "You know what? I understand where you're coming from. You're looking for the money. That's fine, but listen, don't focus just on the money. Okay? Just do the best that you could do with what you have, and guess what? Eventually, people will notice, and the money will come. All right? Let me share this illustration with you. I heard it a few years ago. Not sure if it's a true story or not, but regardless, it's about the lesson that's involved. And it goes like this. They had a few guys that moved here to the US. It was three of them that came from another country, and they were looking for work. And they went on a construction site. And at that same site, it so happens that they were doing a research study. So they were looking for a job. They got hired, and basically it was to do manual work. Okay. So the boss said, "Listen, here, your shovels." Gave each one of them a shovel. "I'll pay you X amount. And what I want you to do is to go over here, and I want you to dig this ditch. Okay. Take all of the dirt, all of the gravel, the rocks, and what's not. I want you to put it in one pile over here." So that's what they did. And when it came to the close of the day, the boss said, "Okay, you can stop right now. What I want you to do is to take the same dirt and gravel and rocks, all that you just dug up, and I want you to put it back into the hole that you just dug." And they looked at each other like, "What? That makes no sense whatsoever." But they said, "Well, hey, he's the boss. This is what he wants us to do. So let's go ahead and do it." So he said, "Come back tomorrow." They came back the next day. He said, "Listen, you guys did such a wonderful job. I'm going to give you a extra dollar an hour for the good work that you're doing." Now, these guys were excited because for them, that was a lot of money compared to where they were from. So they said, "Okay, so what are we going to do today?" He said, "Well, the same thing you did yesterday, I want you to do it today." And these guys were just puzzled. They're scratching their head, wondering, and they're like, "Well, hey, he's paying us, so let's just do what he says to do." So they did it, and this went on for quite a while. And guess what? Every day the boss would give them an extra dollar an hour. So guess what? They were making some serious profit. They were making the money. But what do you think after some time? What do you think happened with these three guys? Please go ahead and share your response. What do you think happened? After working in construction and digging a ditch and throwing back the dirt into the same hole, what do you think happened after a while? Well, okay, Brandon, they made enough money to balance out the profit versus finding new work. Okay. Robert, they wanted more money or wanted a change in career. Marla, they started to burn out. Okay. All right. Well, you guys took a good shot at it. Well, basically, they quit. And the reason they quit is because guess what? There was no passion in what they were doing, right? There was no purpose. There was no forward progression, right? They weren't solving any problem. There wasn't really a plan. It was just the same thing over and over again. Now, guess what? They were making the profit, weren't they? Every day they were getting a raise. But guess what? It wasn't enough. And that's why I believe all these P's are necessary for us to get to that point where we are in our life's task. We are doing the mission that we were designed to do. Okay, so hopefully that's a help to you. And now we're going to transition to what is due this week. And I know some of you, that's what you've been waiting for concerning the discussion board, brainstorming worksheet, and the mastery journal. So Omololu said, become frustrated. Absolutely. They certainly did become frustrated after a while. All right, so this is for this discussion board, and I'm actually showing you the document so that you can see what I'm talking about, okay? So here it is, week 3, discussion board in FSO. This is what I'm discussing here, okay? And I want you, the reason I have it here, I want you to actually see it, the document that I'm talking about. Now, with a discussion board, by now, you know, you should know what you're doing and it's self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go through everything here, but I just want to highlight a few things. So complete the week's reading assignment, of course, right? And then watch the video presentation entitled Do What You Love by Tom Kelly. And then for your initial post, you respond to the following question. Okay. And here they are right here. Pretty straightforward. And of course, that is due by Wednesday, uh, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. And regardless of where you live, okay, I know for some students it's kind of hard for them to adjust to that, especially they live in a different time zone. But remember, we go by Eastern Standard Time, right? So right now it is 8:27 p.m. Eastern. All right. And then your follow-up post. I know for the first class, some students are still trying to navigate their way through FSO. But don't forget, okay, don't forget your follow-up post, which is due on Sunday. And of course, that is due at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. And that's when you respond to one of your classmates, okay? So pretty standard with the discussions, and that's how it's going to be through your degree program, all right? Next is your assignment. And notice this is worth 15%. And this is a brainstorming and research framework. And some of the same information you're going to use in week 4. Okay, so keep that in mind. And let me just give you a visual of what I'm talking about here. So right here it says week 3, brainstorming and research. Okay, and once again, that's worth 15%. So just a few highlights here about the assignments. You will conduct an in-depth review of the course concepts regarding your personal calling and social intelligence. Brainstorm project specifications, research critical elements, and develop a framework that will be the foundation for your mastery timeline that will be completed in week 4 of the course. Now, don't worry, I will show you what the template looks like in a moment, okay? Especially for those of you who are more uh, visually inclined. So, concerning the project specifications for this week's project, you will brainstorm, research, and outline the following. Complete the Mastery Journey Framework worksheet. We'll see in a moment. Review career resources in your industry by using your program's resource guide and FSO's references. And all of you, have different degree programs that you're um, focusing on. Evaluate the Full Sail online course catalog, and that can be found on Full Sail's website. And then you're going to outline a personal SWOT analysis of your current readiness in your chosen field. And SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, and notice here it says bulleted responses are acceptable, but professional aspects such as spelling and punctuation are still critical. And also, you will be conducting some research as well too. No, this is not a formal paper that you're going to be writing like in week 2, but you definitely need to do some research and include some citations in there. Okay. So what's the deliverable? Assignment should be free of grammar, punctuation, and spelling errors. You're going to cite all research sources in text and on a reference page. And basically, it's going to be a Word document template that's available in FSO, and you're just going to fill it out, and that's what you're going to submit. And you will include a references page at the end. Okay. You have some resources here available for you. Of course, this is in full sale, and then you should know how to access the online library, okay, through Connect. And once again, we'll look at the worksheet momentarily. Also, there's a video about the SWOT tutorial available in FSO. So here's the rubric, and you can take a look at that at your leisure, but also notice how much points for each section. Okay, and of course, that's where you want to provide as much information as possible. All right, and in concerning references right here, evidence and support. So make sure that you have citations and references as well. Okay, and it tells you how many you need right here, at least 4 print or digital resources. Okay. So let me make this a little bit larger. This is what the worksheet looks like. All right. And listen, I know for some students, I mean, they get overwhelmed. They open this document, and anxiety hits them. And I understand, because for some of them it's like, wow, this is a lot of information, or this is pretty long. But listen, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So just take one bite at a time. As you can see, you have number 1, number 2, number 3. Just start with number 1, and you just fill it in. Okay, don't get overwhelmed with all the information that you have to do. And of course, you don't want to wait till the weekend, right? Especially Sunday to get this done, because guess what? You're going to run out of gas. Okay, so little by little. And I know, listen, majority of online students, um, they probably have a tighter schedule than on campus. Maybe you're working full time, you got a family. We understand that. I understand that, especially for my students specifically. But listen, you still have a deadline, right? That's how the media and entertainment is. So we want to make sure that, manage your time properly and just do a little by little to get it done. So, for example, number 1, 3 trends that could shape your industry of choice. Well, you got to figure out, what industry are you looking at? Okay, is it the game industry? Is it the film industry? Is it music? Entertainment business. Every one of you have different desires. Okay, so you're gonna do your research and just include the information here. Now, yes, you can include bullet points, but if you're going to have bullet points, make sure it's substantial, okay? Generally, 1 or 2 words is not enough context. So just make sure that you have some meat on those bones, okay? 3 current companies in your mastery field, just do some research and figure that out. By the way, let me give you a hint. Um, okay, yeah, especially for current leaders in your field, many a times students might not know. I mean, some of you, you're probably so deep into it, right? But generally, every month I have students that just not too sure of where to find these people. Well, one point I'll give you is that look for the big conferences, okay? Who are holding these big conferences? Where are the big conferences being held? And then take a look at the roster. See who are the keynote speakers, who are the presenters at these conferences. And generally, these are the same leaders in the specific field that you're looking at, okay? So that's just one tip for you. So remember, when it comes to research, it takes time, okay? That doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes people think, oh, well, I spent 5 minutes Googling, that's research. No, it takes a little bit longer than that. All right. So that's one page. Here's the other page. Like I said, just do one section at a time, one bullet point at a time. Let me point out number 9. Evaluate the Full Sail online course catalog and reflect upon how each course in your degree program will tangibly enhance your mastery journey. Now, class, notice it says each course. So we're talking about, I know there are different degree programs here, but, talking about 10 to 12 courses, okay? So sometimes I see students might just give a little, paragraph or maybe 2 sentences. That's insufficient, okay? You gotta elaborate on every single course. And, we're talking about 1 to 2 sentences for every course, okay? So don't overlook that. So I'm letting you know in advance about that. And then your SWOT analysis, make sure you give as much substantial information as possible. Then you will add your references pages, okay? So your citations, just make sure you include what is required according to the rubric, and then, you include your a references page at the end, okay? Sometimes I know some people look at citations and references as the same, but they're not. Okay, citations are in the body of your paper, and references, that list comes at the end. Okay, all right, so let's move over here. And then we have the mastery journal. So last week you used Tumblr to create a mastery journal. This week you'll establish a personal learning network, or a PLN. A PLN allows you to collect and organize online articles and resources related to your area of interest. These resources will be critical to your personal development and allow you to stay abreast of industry news, information, and opportunities. So this week's journal will also be a 300-word post from you. So just to highlight a few things here about the Mastery Journal. It is a running documentation and portfolio of your work. Okay, this is very helpful that you're going to include this information on your journey. It's really going to help you to stay focused and encourage you as you continue with your degree program. So for this week's assignment, you'll complete the following 5 elements, which will comprise your personal learning network. And I do have at least one screenshot to show you so you can have an idea of what you're doing. So you have Papply. Papply is a social bookmarking website. So what you're going to do is set up a Papply account, okay? And then you're going to choose 5 resources to bookmark. Look for things that you're interested in industry-wise, okay? And then you'll post a link or a screenshot to your Papply account on your Mastery Journal. And I'll give you an example of that momentarily, okay? And then you also have Feedly. That's another application. Feedly Reader will provide RSS feeds to news sources of information. So you want to post a screenshot of your Feedly Reader on your Mastery Journal. And basically, we want to see that you did that. Okay, that's the reason why we're asking for these screenshots. We want to make sure that you've actually set up these accounts. Okay. Create a logo for your name, and we have some examples here of how you can create your logo. Some of you already have yours already. That's fine. If not, here's some resources that you can use. And then you post your Mastery Journal logo on your Mastery Journal. So we want to see that as well too. And then I trust that if you don't have a LinkedIn account, you definitely want to get that done now. Okay. And post a link of your LinkedIn profile on your Mastery Journal. So, and then, you submit your, the link for your Mastery Journal so that, once when I say us, various professors, instructors, because multiple people teach Mastery, we just can click on it and we can observe. We can see all of the screenshots for these different accounts. Okay. By the way, let me give you a hint about LinkedIn. You probably know that LinkedIn purchased lynda.com, right? And with lynda.com, every time you finish, a certain tutorial, you will get a digital certificate. And that digital certificate you can display on your LinkedIn account, which looks good. So potential employers, they click on your LinkedIn account, they can actually see these digital certificates if you allow them to be seen by the public. So that's a wonderful thing. So imagine, you got your bachelor's degree, you're working on your master's, and if you're able, if you have the bandwidth, that let's say you can do maybe one certificate per month from lynda.com, guess what? That's going to add more weight, okay, to your resume and to your portfolio. So just something for you to think about. Um, okay, and then here is the rubric, okay, of what is required for your mastery journal, okay? Not that difficult, okay? But of course, you want to make sure you take your time to get it done. So here's the example I was telling you about. So here's a Feedly reader. So this is a screenshot of it, okay? For those of you who are not sure of how to do a screenshot, here it is. So Command and Shift plus 3, I'll show you right here. I'll do it right now. That'll do the entire page, okay? Command Shift plus 4, I can choose exactly what I want to make a screenshot of. So like right here, I can do this and I can make a screenshot of that, okay? And then I'll just show you real quick. Let me bring it up, what I just took a screenshot of, and voila, here it is right here, okay? So that's what we're looking for. We just want to make sure that you have established your accounts for these different um, applications. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna turn on the microphone, but many a times I know when I do that, there might be a lot of noise. So if you're able to control it, the noise such as, a blasting radio or a TV, if you can turn down that volume, that'll be great. Okay. If you can't, that's understandable. Um, but once I turn on the mic, and there's a lot of noise in your area, you can go ahead and mute yourself. So please do that. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and turn on the mic for those who might prefer to ask their questions instead of type them out. Okay. So give me a moment here, and here we go. All right. Questions, comments, concerns about what is due for this evening. Feel free to use the chat box or your microphone. If you raise your virtual hand, I'll call on you, okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? Let's see, Christina.
Okay, so the various accounts that you have us making and posting the screenshots for on Tumblr, do you want that as one post or do you want that as multiple posts?
As one post, if you could do that as one post on your Tumblr account, and then you provide the link for your Tumblr account, that'll be sufficient.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Good. Any others? Questions, comments, concerns? Of course, this is your opportunity, right? So feel free to ask questions. This is a safe place. So feel free to raise your hand. I'll call on you. And of course, if I hear a lot of crickets, that means that you understand what is due and you're good to go. But still, just want to give you the opportunity. Questions, comments, concerns. All right. Well, it looks like we're good to go. And of course, for my students, feel free to contact me directly if you have questions later on. And the rest of you, of course, contact your respective instructors if you have further questions or comments. But listen, I appreciate you being here this evening. I wish every one of you, continued success as you move through your respective degree program. As you can see here, if you have any technical concerns, you could contact FSO support. Every now and again, there are glitches, so that's the information there. And thank you so much. And by the way, the archive, I say, it's going to be ready, within 24 hours after this session. But, usually by midnight tonight, it'll be available. Okay. So, yeah, it'll be available in FSO. All right. So thank you once again, and wish every one of you a wonderful evening. All right. Thank you.